Did you know that in the heart of America's wealthiest cities, over 500,000 people are living on the streets, struggling to survive each day? In places like New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, the homelessness crisis is spiraling out of control, and it's right in front of our eyes. These are real human beings, fathers, mothers, children, who are fighting for survival amidst the wealth and opulence that surrounds them. In today's video, we dive deep into this urgent crisis. We'll uncover the personal stories of those affected and explore what's really being done to help the most vulnerable people in our society. But here's the question. Could Donald Trump's controversial ideas, like tent cities and mandatory rehabilitation, really be the answer to this growing catastrophe? Stay with us to find out if his bold proposals are the solution or just another misguided attempt to cover up the truth. Welcome to Watch the Globe, your go-to guide for uncovering the world's best-kept secrets. Today, we're exploring the homelessness crisis. Can Trump's radical solutions fix the problem? Before we dive into today's exploration of Trump's ideas, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Your support lets us bring more travel insights your way and let us grow with your help. The growing crisis, homelessness in major U.S. cities. Homelessness in America isn't just a statistic. It's a crisis that has shattered the lives of hundreds of thousands of people across the nation. In some of the wealthiest, most well-known cities in the world, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, this epidemic has reached alarming levels. How can this be happening in a country that prides itself on being the land of opportunity and prosperity? The uncomfortable truth is that millions of Americans are living without the basic human right of a roof over their heads. Take New York City, for example, home to more than 80,000 homeless individuals, sleeping in shelters, under bridges, and on the cold, unforgiving streets. In Los Angeles, nearly 71,320 people are struggling to survive, with Skid Row standing as a haunting symbol of a city where wealth and poverty coexist in stark contrast. These cities, teeming with power, culture, and affluence, are also home to some of the most vulnerable populations, ignored and pushed aside by society. The reality of homelessness is far more than a product of bad urban planning or failed policy. The roots of this crisis are deep, tangled in a web of skyrocketing housing costs, growing economic disparity, mental health issues, and substance abuse, all compounded by insufficient resources to help those who fall through the cracks. And this problem, it's getting worse. Every day, more and more people find themselves abandoned by the system that was supposed to protect them. Behind the statistic are real people, each with their own heartbreaking story of struggle and survival. Take Tracy Bennett in San Diego, for example. She lost her job and could no longer pay rent, finding herself on the streets, desperate for a way out. Then there's David, a man in Washington, D.C., who watched his life unravel when he lost his job, fell into debt, and began battling serious health problems until he, too, became homeless. These are the stories that many Americans fear. One missed paycheck, one crisis, one bad break, and suddenly, the American dream slips from reach. So, what's being done to fix this? Are we really making progress, or is this a problem that's only getting worse? The clock is ticking, and it's time to confront the reality of homelessness in our cities. The question is, do we have a real solution, or are we simply sweeping it under the rug? Let's find out. Trump's bold ideas. Can they end homelessness? As the homelessness crisis deepens, various political figures have proposed solutions to address the issue. Before we have a look at Trump's new ideas, could I ask for a quick favor? If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with all our latest videos and won't risk missing out on our next hidden gem. It's free, and it helps us continue bringing you the best news out there. Thanks so much for your support. One of the most controversial figures to offer his own ideas for tackling homelessness is former President Donald Trump. Trump's administration took a hardline approach to many social issues, and homelessness was no exception. He suggested a combination of law enforcement, rehabilitation, and policy reforms aimed at reducing the number of homeless individuals in major cities. Let's take a closer look at some of the key ideas Trump proposed for addressing homelessness. 1. Tent cities on federal lands. One of the most well-known aspects of Trump's plan to reduce homelessness involves the idea of tent cities. Trump has suggested that tent cities could be set up on federal lands, where individuals facing homelessness could be housed temporarily. These tent cities would provide a space for people to live while receiving treatment and services, including substance abuse programs, mental health treatment, and vocational training. Trump's proposal would use large, inexpensive federal lands to create these camps, which could help address some of the housing shortages that contribute to the problem. The goal is to take individuals off the streets and provide them with basic amenities and rehabilitation. But while this idea has sparked debate, many critics argue that tent cities could be dehumanizing and may only serve as a temporary fix without addressing the underlying causes of homelessness, such as mental health issues, substance abuse, and lack of affordable housing. 2. Mandatory rehabilitation and treatment. Trump has also proposed that homeless individuals in these tent cities would be required to undergo mandatory rehabilitation. The idea is to compel individuals struggling with mental health issues or substance abuse to get treatment in order to receive shelter and support. While this may sound like a reasonable approach to some, critics argue that mandatory treatment can be problematic. Forcing individuals to undergo treatment without addressing the root causes of their homelessness, like the lack of affordable housing or job opportunities, may only treat the symptoms, not the problem itself. Moreover, many experts believe that voluntary treatment is more effective, as individuals are more likely to succeed when they're motivated to change. Forcing someone into rehab without addressing the systemic issues they face may do more harm than good. 3. Deregulation of housing markets. One of the main drivers of homelessness is the lack of affordable housing. In many major cities, housing costs have skyrocketed, leaving low-income individuals and families unable to afford rent. Trump has proposed deregulating the housing market in order to increase the availability of affordable housing. This would include easing zoning laws and building codes to make it easier for developers to build more homes, particularly in urban areas where the demand for housing is high. By removing regulations that some see as barriers to development, Trump hopes to create a greater supply of affordable housing, which could help alleviate some of the pressures that lead to homelessness. However, critics of this approach argue that deregulation could lead to a lack of oversight in the construction of new housing, potentially resulting in lower quality buildings or even the destruction of affordable housing in favor of higher-end developments. While increasing the housing supply is important, the quality and affordability of new housing are equally crucial. 4. Increased law enforcement and border control. Trump has also advocated for stronger law enforcement to deal with homelessness. In some areas, this could mean increasing police presence around homeless encampments or even arresting individuals who refuse to leave certain areas. This approach aims to remove people from public spaces and clean up city streets. Additionally, Trump has tied homelessness to illegal immigration, claiming that immigrants are contributing to the housing shortage and exacerbating the homelessness crisis. While his supporters argue that this approach would protect American citizens, critics point out that immigration is not the primary cause of homelessness. The real issues are economic disparity, lack of affordable housing, and insufficient mental health care. Trump's plan versus reality, does it solve homelessness? Trump's ideas to tackle homelessness are undeniably bold and designed to address some of the most pressing issues, like housing shortages, substance abuse, and the overwhelming pressure on public resources. However, does his plan offer a real solution? Or is it just a temporary fix? There are several flaws in Trump's approach. For one, it fails to address the root causes of homelessness, such as low wages, lack of affordable housing, and the mental health crisis. While tent cities and mandatory treatment programs may offer immediate shelter, they do little to solve the long-term issues that keep people homeless. Additionally, the criminalization of homelessness, through measures like increased law enforcement or forced rehabilitation, may push homeless individuals further into the shadows, increasing their social isolation and making it harder for them to reintegrate into society. What's needed is a holistic approach that addresses the systemic issues that lead to homelessness. This includes increasing the availability of affordable housing, improving mental health care, expanding job opportunities, and creating more supportive communities for those who are struggling. While Trump's proposals could contribute to the solution, they are unlikely to solve the problem on their own. Do you think Trump's bold plan to tackle homelessness could make a real difference? Or is it just a temporary fix? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinions. As we've discussed, homelessness is not just a statistic. It's a human crisis that impacts real people. We've heard stories from people like Tracy Bennett, who ended up living on the streets of San Diego after losing her job and finding herself unable to pay rent. Her story highlights how quickly things can spiral out of control for people already struggling financially. Then there's David, who found himself homeless in Washington, D.C., after losing his job and facing health issues. His situation demonstrates how healthcare, or the lack of it, plays a significant role in the homelessness crisis. As David tries to navigate the complex bureaucratic systems designed to help people like him, he faces barriers that make it harder for him to escape homelessness. The need for comprehensive solutions. The solutions to homelessness are complex and multifaceted. There is no single answer. But what is clear is that we need a comprehensive approach, one that addresses the root causes and provides not just shelter, but also opportunity for those experiencing homelessness. Some effective initiatives include expanding affordable housing projects, providing mental health services, offering job training, and creating supportive environments where homeless individuals can rebuild their lives. Cities like Portland and Houston have taken steps to reduce homelessness by creating permanent supportive housing and integrating mental health and substance abuse services with housing. Ultimately, addressing homelessness requires both compassion and practical solutions. We need policies that not only provide immediate relief, but also create long-term stability for those in need. Trump's ideas may be a part of the solution, but they should be integrated into a broader, more inclusive approach to solving homelessness. What do you think is the most effective way to solve homelessness? Should we focus more on affordable housing, mental health services, or creating job opportunities? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take on what truly works. While the challenges of homelessness may seem overwhelming, change is possible, but only if we come together as a society to address the root causes and implement sustainable, compassionate solutions. We all have a role to play in making our communities stronger and more inclusive. From supporting local organizations and advocating for better policies to simply raising awareness, every action counts. As we've seen, the problem of homelessness is not just about providing temporary shelter, it's about creating lasting change that gives individuals the chance to rebuild their lives. Whether through affordable housing, mental health care, job training, or a combination of these factors, a holistic approach is essential. We must continue to ask ourselves, what can we do to make a difference? The crisis is real, but so are the solutions. And together, we can work towards a future where no one has to face the streets alone. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Watch the Globe for more travel tips and hidden gems. Until next time, keep exploring and keep dreaming. See you in the next video.